We're back.
We are back. Okay, so I think it's Patty, eh?
Yep. Yeah. My movie is a documentary called Summer of Soul,
Okay.
which
All right, so we're going to
Let's
watch
see a preview of that.
a
Again,
preview.
never saw this trailer.
really
I know, the
be
trailers are
interesting.
fun.
There are plenty of pretty voices with nothing to
Wrong trailer.
Here we go. That's the one.
You move down, we can start. Welcome to the Harlem Culture Festival. Here in the heart of Harlem.
What time is it? You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
it's done by Questlove. He put it all together, but it was locked away. It was actually filmed by a man named what was his name? Hal Tuchin, and he had 40 hours because this festival was every weekend for 6 weeks, and he got 40 hours down in his basement, left there for 50 years, and through the whole thing, the most amazing thing to me was the sound. They didn't have to change a thing, maybe 2% of the sound. So there's no, if you couldn't sing, it would show, If you couldn't play, it showed. This is why people got excited, especially if you're younger, why they got excited about music, because what was there was there. There was nothing added to it. It wasn't digitized. It was just there. And you get so excited when you watch it. And of course, it's got a lot of gospel singers, which is my genre, who I truly love.
Oh, wow.
And it's got like 1 week would be jazz, 1 week would be R&B, but what I call real R&B. And it's just the way it's cut and put together, which Questlove did. And he took 40 hours and put it down to 2 hours.
Yeah.
40 hours,
That's a feat.
right? During the entire taping of that, it took 12 mics. And the sound is
Yes,
great. It's raw.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically how it started was 1969, same year as Woodstock, same time as Woodstock, same time as the moon landing. They had the Harlem Cultural Festival put on by Summer of Soul, but the real title is Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. That was the original
Oh,
title.
yes.
Yeah.
And it was to celebrate Black
old enough to
history
remember
culture.
that.
And some of the acts, and these are just a few, is Stevie Wonder, Mahalia Jackson, Fifth Dimension, Sly Stone, Mavis Staples, Gladys Knight, David Ruffin, Edward Hawkins Singers, Nina Simone. Tons, because it's 6 weeks, of players that represented, even though it was Black cultural, because it was Harlem, it was also Puerto Rican, Cuban. They
Jamaican,
had everybody.
they mentioned, yeah.
I can only say because this is like my era, and it's so funny when they ask people about what do you think about man landing on the moon, because it just happened, and people like were really honest. They said, "Well, why this man on the money? Feeding the starving people. Who cares who lands on the moon?"
I remember saying that when I was a kid, too, yeah.
Now, Rotten Tomato gave it 99%, which, after a lot of movies that I love, Rotten Tomato is not really high in my let's take a chance thing. But over the time, 300,000 people attended this. And a man named Mr. Lawrence, he's the one who presided over it. And it just shows all these different artists in raw form, the way music was so exciting. And halfway through, if not at the beginning, you get excited. You know what I mean? You're very
Oh,
excited
yes.
about
Oh,
it.
very much so, yeah.
So all I can say is you should see it. It's a 2021 movie. It won Best Documentary, and it should have. And it's a blaster. You'll be turned on to people that, well, it's funny seeing them young, because
Yes.
that's how I remember them.
Right. Yes.
And there's also artists like the Fifth Dimension, how they decided to what they were feeling when they're watching themselves. on
Yeah.
the-
And I think
She was crying.
Marilyn McCoo
Yeah.
and Billy
Yeah.
Davis Jr. were making comments
And
as they
Mavis
watched that.
Staples.
Yeah.
Mavis
Yeah.
Staples.
Staple.
Yeah.
Her idol was Mahalia Jackson, and Mahalia Jackson wasn't feeling good that day, and she said Mahalia asked her to sing this song, "Oh Precious Lord." I think it's "Oh Precious Lord, Walk
Yes.
with Me."
Yes.
What's his face? Leader.
Oh, Jesse Jackson.
No,
Oh,
but he was on that too.
right. Oh.
Got killed.
Oh, Martin Luther
Michael
King.
Luther
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds like two words. All right, and
Well,
that was
also-
his favorite song. So
Oh yeah,
helped.
yeah. That's
okay,
what she
right.
did,
Well,
and that's why she had a hard time singing it too, because she thought about that.
yeah, she
Right.
wasn't feeling good.
Yeah, and also too is that he had asked the musician,
The horn player, the
the
sax player,
horn
wasn't it?
player.
Billy,
He asked.
Billy, yeah.
That was the last words he had said.
Yeah.
Is Billy? Make sure you play that song, and then he was shot.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't know. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't remember even hearing that. Yeah.
It's not a movie you really to analyze, because it's basically you hear it. It's all about listening to music, but music. Why people my age say music now sucks, because when you see that documentary, you see, and you don't even know why, and it's not something to be analyzed, like why it moves you so much. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, Mr. George.
Oh yes, me, Mister. Yeah, I really enjoyed the movie too. It's funny, it's generational, but like a lot of this, obviously, a lot of these artists were unknown at the time. They were not famous, and to me, they're like huge.
Yes,
But-
exactly.
so I'm
That's
like,
so true.
oh my God, they pulled this people that was playing without that, they all together with. But then by that time they weren't unknown, like they say in the film. But
They were just. They were.
yeah, and it's generational, like me telling me.
Saying, yeah, they.
Yeah, it's generational, like to younger generations. A lot of, and it goes on, like people can talk to me about certain artists. I will say, yeah, I was doing something for that artist back in the day. It wasn't nobody came to see them. Now they're huge.
Yeah.
So, but they'll be like, oh, so yeah, the music was amazing. It was just one thing I thought was as opposed to Woodstock, that the Woodstock documentary is just the concert.
The performances.
This documentary that was, I thought Questlove did an amazing job, was putting together a history of what was going on at that time.
Yes.
With the
Right.
with the culture, and then he would go into what's going on, what the issues are, politically, the poverty and everything, and then boom, break into a song and a concert and everything.
9 cameras. They used 9 cameras.
And just as a sound engineer, one thing is that they say that the audio is the original audio
Yeah.
from the concert. Which means is that's how good the audio was for what they had. Nowadays we have stuff like Pro Tools and all that. So nothing needed to be restored. It was just original pristine audio, which is a great audio. Like I was gonna say, like 40 hours thing. Yeah, you got that. He just brought down 40. And this is Questlove is he's session musician and all that, but he's now playing with I think Jimmy Fallon. He's Jimmy Fallon, the talk show.
Oh,
Yes.
Questlove.
He's the leader of
Questlove.
the band.
Yeah.
He's like David Letterman. What's his face? Baldy guy.
Oh, sure, Paul.
He's like the Paul Schaefer for Jimmy Fallon. So he's a band leader. So the what was I gonna say about the movie? Oh yeah, it's funny because the movie. One thing is I really like that guy. What's his name?
Questlove?
No, Tony Lawrence, the promoter, Tony Lawrence.
Tony Lawrence.
That guy
Yes,
he's just sweating charisma, and I can see why
Car
he gets.
salesman, number
Oh,
one.
he's
Exactly,
I can
to
see
get
why he
that
gets
thing done.
I can see why he
Yeah.
gets things done because
Yeah.
how you doing? They got the smile, got the face. Hey, I mean he really. I can see how he will, the ability to get things together. But it's a lot of work too. So you gotta have the charisma. You gotta also follow through on it too. So he really followed through on the stuff, and he had help from also Mayor John Lindsay, who's Republican.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was actually great.
He was really into like, and I think it was good at Questlove, because obviously we're very lefty, but he also made a point. No, this is a Republican that was
Right.
actually helping.
Exactly.
the
Because that's one
community.
thing he campaigned on was sort
Yes.
of this sort of, just
And
we're,
they have a
we're all
movie
the
that-
one
and-
city, so we have to be together.
And they have a movie
Yeah.
with Tony Lawrence is with there with the mayor, and he's like, "Okay, we're gonna come up and sing next time." And he's like, "I don't know," putting him on the spot.
Yeah.
So I mean, the guys, it was great. The and also the thing like you said about a lot of times they were dealing with they had a big like they had you said the moon landing, and they were saying all this money for the moon landing, but we're broke here. What's the money for us?
Yeah.
It's because at that time they were having a problem with heroin issues
Right. Heroin
and poverty.
addiction.
But you know what? Nothing changes. 2022, we have money for everything. Some conflict here, some problem there. 10 billion, 5 billion, 10 million. Oh, by the way, we have homeless in LA non-stop. And hopefully we don't get cancer here.
Exactly.
But there's no money. There's no money for the poor. But whenever something happens outside, it was like, oh, there's all this money available for it. So I was going to say, we have money readily available for everything except for helping the poor. That's my quote.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Go,
Yes?
go ahead.
so yeah, I love the movie, I love the concept. I thought Gladys Knight was cute as a button. Cute as a button. I just love her seeing her. She's just singing
She's
and
my
everything. She's a
favorite R&B
performer.
singer,
man.
period.
And
one of my
one thing I loved about the movie too is that he has a lot of these artists like the Fifth Dimension and Gladys Knight and
Watching themselves.
and watching themselves, and they're like just reminiscing and nostalgia and all that stuff. And they really like some of them get very emotional. Seeing wow, we were like at that time we were just scrubs or wearing the blanket, or they call it wearing the diapers for the term.
Not with David
You were in
Ruffin.
diapers?
Yeah, no, wet, they call it something, wearing the napkins. This is a term, but it means you're really young and you don't know anything. And now, they're so huge and everything. But at that time, they were like, and they see themselves being like, and I can see when they see the film, when they see the footage, I can see them putting themselves there on stage at that time.
right.
I can see them
Yeah.
seeing the audience, seeing what they were feeling, seeing the nervousness of be performing and because I think one of who it was that said that she was nervous like crazy. She's nervous.
Was that Gladys
Might have
Knight?
been. But and I was like,
Because
wow.
I thought she was
Yes.
She was
singing
a-
ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
She was.
She was just going on, but she looked
yeah.
really young too. And great performance, B.B. King. Wow, I just love the B.B. King. Stevie Wonder was like, showing off he can play the drums, he can do.
He can play
He was
everything.
just showing
Yeah.
up what his.
David
his,
Ruffin
his-
singing a
Oh,
cappella.
yeah.
A cappella.
Yeah.
Acapulco. Singing a
Yeah.
cappella.
And then
My girl.
And then what's it? Watermelon Man. Who did that? That was like congas and all that. Congas,
Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, but the band that played it, I can't remember. But there was just, this really showed
Who played? Who did play?
Ray
it?
Barretto. That's what it was, I think.
Yes, there we
So-
go. That's who it was. Yeah.
So, and I really like how they did things like I was saying. They it wasn't just they had comedians performing too. Red Fox was there and a couple of other
yeah,
ones.
Mom's Mabley.
Yes, and then they had shows too. They had like this one. They were doing like an African thing where they do like a voodoo thing where they have the
It's called San.
Oh,
Where they come-
Muscala,
and I see
something.
videos.
Was it
Some
And I've actually
Humascala?
seen
I think?
videos on TikTok where supposedly like you see a doll
Right.
in Africa, and there's just a doll, and then they cover the doll with this kind of like a palapa looking thing with nothing in it, and they cover the doll. Suddenly the thing starts dancing and moving around. I'm like, damn, this is like magic. It's voodoo, but it's like a magic trick. So basically, it's coming alive. So I'm going. Somebody was somehow hanging up to the palapa for dear life, and because you're like, oh, so yeah,
Well,
and
and
then
show all the cultures.
yeah, and they did the performances on stage. So I think it was an amazing performance. Unfortunately, well, now we know about it, but I said that it was, and it was last for 50 years. And I think I found some
In the
footage that
basement.
something like I forgot where it was, and somewhere it was lost. Anyways, I can't remember. But the documentary, has been nominated 49 times. And it has 136 awards. Not just the Oscars and
I can
BAFTA,
understand
whatever.
it, yeah.
Just there's so many
Yeah, all
awards.
the- right.
There's so many
All
awards
the film
everywhere.
festivals,
You know,
exactly.
I don't know the Texaco Awards or whatever. The Texas. It has 136 awards. So I mean that's pretty big. And Questlove is like for his first time directing it. The way he put it together,
40
mixing,
hours.
yeah, but also mixing the history. Putting the history of what's going on in Harlem and into the black
Black
community
Panthers were the
and
guards.
the black community and then just the Puerto Ricans and just the poor. Just putting that documentary together with the concert. I mean, he did an amazing job, and he won. Unfortunately, people might forget that he won the Oscar for it because something else happened during his nomination, which
that was sad.
Which took away from his nomination because that was a great thing that he deserved that Oscar. He did an amazing job.
You know, when I watched Woodstock, I did not feel the excitement that I felt watching Summer of Soul.
Well, the music is just, it's different music. It's just, but also, yeah, it's like I said, that was the whole time was like.
I have to say, 1969, without aging myself a lot.
I was
right?
wearing diapers and I was like at the concert.
You weren't even born.
No, talking about you. Exactly. I was in diapers going.
It was a very interesting year. I remember Patty was talking to me about going to. I just had my daughter. My daughter was just born.
But she was going.
1969.
But Patty, we're 5 years old. We can go to the concert.
Patty was like, she had just been in. We're Canadian. We just went to the Strawberry Festival, which is basically Woodstock.
Yes, it was all the same artists.
And they were having the same thing like in northern New York somewhere.
Those concerts.
And she was talking to me about, should I go? I just went to the Strawberry Festival. It's the same concert basically. And but that year was, I say, the year of music.
Yeah.
It was like these concerts were going on everywhere
all the time. And you had to be that good. Everybody wanted to be good.
And George is right. We think Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Gladys Knight, whatever. They were just basically not the icons.
It's like your your local unknown band performing.
Janis Joplin was an up and coming singer.
Yeah, right.
Jimi Hendrix.
Hey, this is not Van Halen when Van Halen wasn't Van Halen.
Yeah, he was playing at a place called Gazzari's. He was the house band. I had a friend. It was like, I'm going to go see Van Halen. It's like, okay. It was like, because he's out. Yeah, there was the house band there. So that era was very musical. I mean,
people's attitude. Musicians, just wanted to be better and better. Nobody ever said, I want to be famous.
Yeah, but I don't think better and better is the exact word. It's like they were. I don't think it wasn't a hierarchy kind of thing. Like,
no, I don't mean like that. I mean, you just wanted to be the best.
You want to
give the best of your what
and
you have.
Not only that,
how good
you want to give the best of yourself to the audience.
Yeah, it was not. I want to be famous.
But it was not highly produced music.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I would say Motown would be the closest to highly produced music, right? It shows. Even in this, you can see it. It's much more stylized and whatever, as opposed to B.B. King or
Haley
Jackson.
Well, say that they were roughing. He needs to eat a little bit. He's skinny,
right?
And everybody's like,
to see Mavis Staple as a very young woman, singing with her kind of breakthrough thing when she sang for.
Look, they were a
with
gospel group.
Mahalia, correct?
Yes, I mean that was before Respect Yourself.
Yeah.
That was before.
Oh, yeah. They were part of the gospel group.
I mean, this was amazing. I mean, I still don't quite understand that end scene, which I loved. Between
I didn't
Stevie
understand that
Wonder
either. Yeah.
oh yeah. I don't get that either.
What?
I don't know. That's Stevie Wonder, and I think it might have been his handler probably.
Well, see, I couldn't
somebody.
Understand, right? Because I didn't understand that either.
The last scene.
What I thought was that
you
maybe,
didn't stick around to see it.
Okay, yeah.
you gotta watch the
Because
like the Marvel movies.
exactly
Yes.
like the
Yes.
Marvel movies. You gotta nowadays you gotta watch the post credits.
Yeah, and there was a scene
Yeah,
between
with Stevie Wonder and
Stevie Wonder and
somebody else. I don't know who he is.
somebody in authority who felt they were in authority.
But Stevie
And
Wonder
they
said
were-
something like, "I write your checks" or something like that.
Yeah,
Well,
they
no,
got
he was
into-
holding on to his
Suit,
suit. Remember?
I know what's going on here.
They got into a little bit.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
Right. I couldn't
I-
tell if it was a joke or not.
I
Yeah.
couldn't tell if it was a joke or not
Yeah.
either.
Oh.
Where he was trying to get him, and he was like, no.
He was trying to get him out of the stage. So I'm like, in 2 months, I kept going.
Well, the thing is, Stevie Wonder was holding on to his suit.
Yeah,
So at one
also.
point, you
But
see
the
he's
thing-
almost getting upset.
Yeah.
Like, why are
Let
you
go of
holding
my
on to my
suit.
suit? Why are
Let
you
go of
holding
my
my
suit.
suit?
But-
And then Stevie Wonder says, I bought you that suit.
Yes.
So and you think, what's going on
and
here?
The thing is, but Stevie Wonder is smiling the whole time
Which
he's
could
saying
be,
that.
which
But
could
he
be,
always does smile.
which
You
could
got-
also be staged to make him look like, hey, you know.
And also, the other thing that I thought was great is like Stevie Wonder in this concert is 19 years old. He's coming from little Stevie Wonder and what is it? Fingers?
Right.
Part one, part two.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's what?
Fingers. It's the
Yeah.
first thing that made him
Part one,
famous
part
when he was
two.
12.
Right.
Yeah, something.
Oh, yeah, when
fingers.
he's reinventing himself.
Yeah, and he's gonna. Where's he gonna go?
Right.
Right.
And I think that's just incredible. It's kind of like, wow, this is before he becomes
Stevie Wonder.
Right. Before the Talking Book
before,
album, which really
and-
set
Golden
the
you know what I-
standard for
Lady,
you know what I-
before
and also-
Songs in the Key of Life.
yes.
This is before
Inner
where
Visions.
it's a
Yeah.
crossroads for. I thought it was fascinating. It,
Another
Mavis
one-
Staple. Yeah.
Another one, that little Sly Stone, Sly from Stone.
Yeah.
He was
And I love the drummer. His drummer. You see, that guy looks like he could be playing with, Pearl Jam now. It's like that whole.
But you know
but-
what was amazing about the whole thing?
That rhythm.
Every artist was different, but it shows you if you're really good at something.
Yeah. And people were saying that's the
People love
first.
it.
And also people were saying that it's kind of weird. People
Are
saying,
you talking about Sly?
yeah, the first time
But
they
Sly
saw.
doesn't show up.
Right.
That,
Yes.
But also, not only that-
He's always
he's
been the
But not
famous
only
for
that,
that.
that's the first time they will see like the act, and it's like he's got a women performing his
yeah.
band. His drummer is a white guy. His
Right.
horn guy is a white guy. It's just a very
And
mixed-
his
very
horn
inclusive.
player was a
Yes,
black
white-
woman.
Yeah, black
you
woman.
know,
Yes, and she
but-
also had a keyboard player was a
but
black woman too.
I have a problem
just a
with
mix.
now with everybody going, oh my God, they had a woman. Nobody thought,
Yeah,
oh my
nobody
God,
went, hey.
he has a woman.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that. It was like, nobody thought that. It was like in music, and that's one reason I love music. Music, all you got to be able to do is play. And it really doesn't matter who you are,
Absolutely.
what color you are,
Right.
what age you are, what biological entity you are.
Right.
If you're a dolphin and you can play,
I gotta tell
you're
you
in.
though, when I was backup singer, they would always say, "Okay, we want 2 white girls and 2 black girls."
Yeah,
Or we want
exactly.
2 white girls, 2 black girls, 1 white girl. They always had a specific, but it was never the musicians. It was always the business end that would say,
Right.
and then
The image that they
artists
wanted.
would come. Yeah, they wanted a look
Exactly,
and a
yeah.
sound.
The thing with Sly is I don't think any business person was telling him anything. It was before business became
But
very.
it's always
Well, he
it's
was
always,
in a
powerful.
league on his own.
But you know
that
what's-
69 was before business became. As
well, it's always
powerful.
the corporate screwing things up. Yeah.
Well, it's corporate.
Because
Because
they think they gotta
screwing
follow a certain
musicians
thing.
over. Now they just do it really obviously. Whose turn is it?
But
I think it's yours.
Are you finished?
I'm finished.
Oh, okay.
wow, that was just wow, that was like 45 minutes. So just that's so far.
Susie hardly got to talk at all. Hello.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this was my favorite film out of the bunch.
I know you
So
were saying.
it was sort of funny
I'm
because
fainting. Long like one of my movies.
because I remember the first time I heard of it is on the Oscars when it won Best Documentary, right? It's like, oh, I didn't even hear about this film. But I have to admit, I'm sort of work a lot. I don't pay attention to films anymore. In fact, I'm glad that I do this show because that makes me forced to watch certain films.
Yeah.
And things I wouldn't watch. Like I said, I don't think I ever would have watched certain movies like Coda, but we did a show. Same thing with this one. I thought, oh, she said, but I almost picked this myself. This is one of the things like, oh, you know what, one Best
'Cause you
Documentary.
wanted to watch
Let
it.
me watch it. Again, didn't see the trailer or anything. So once it starts and Stevie Wonder's on there, so you have to realize Stevie Wonder is one of my all-time favorites. So it's like, I think I've seen him, and he's the number 3 of seeing the most shows. So he's such a great artist. So it's like, oh, okay, this perked up my interest. But then they start doing the thing like you had said, talking first about what this was. This is, like I said, Tony Lawrence, charisma. He wants to put together this show. He's got to contact these artists. He gets Maxwell House to sponsor it, which I
Yes.
thought was great. And then because Maxwell House was involved, that's I said, you know what? No, we have to tape this because I think, if I'm not mistaken, when I read it, they said something about this was going to be like on TV. they wanted to put
Televise it.
televise certain like over a course of maybe, I guess, I don't know how many weeks, but it was once a week
6
they'd show
weeks.
that. Okay, yeah, they would show like
Every
an hour or
weekend.
something, right? Just to show. To which, of course, Maxwell House saying yes, and brought to you by Maxwell House, which was a huge sponsor when I was a kid. And I think I would have been 9 when this came out. So I was aware of Stevie Wonder, but it wasn't until the 70s. In fact, again, watching this film, it's like Gladys Knight, she is one of my all-time favorite R&B singers.
I totally
But
agree.
again, that's coming from Gladys Knight and the Pips of the 70s. Stevie Wonder's, like I said, the 70s when he did Talking Book, Intervision, and Songs of Kid. I mean, he just did album after album after album.
This is
that
when
was
he was
amazing.
trying to decide where he was, how he's transitioning from a kid artist
Right.
to a major, I don't know, to a major Beethoven or.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I mean, I know Stevie Wonder is one of your favorite
Yeah.
artists, but an artist you didn't know.
Oh, who did I like? Well, I was going to say, it would probably, my favorite moment of that. See, I did know who Pop Staples and the Staple Singer, again, because of the 70s. So I knew them, but they were gospel. But the best sequence to me was Mavis Staple talking about just what an incredible honor it was for her to share the
Idol.
stage
It was
with
her
Mahalia Jackson. And what I love too is like, I was singing and she handed me the mic, right?
Because she
type
couldn't
of
do
thing.
it because she's so
And it's-
emotional.
And it was like, yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Because you're right. I remember Mavis Staples relaying the story about how they were sitting together before they went on. He says, Mahalia Jackson told her, you might have to, or I want you to help me sing this, or
Help
something
me,
like
baby.
that.
Help me,
Right.
baby. I'm not- Mama,
And she
stop
thought, oh,
it.
what's a great honor. But when she talked about when Mahalia Jackson handed her the mic, it's like, I thought, oh my God, I can't even, and you just hear that. And see, it's stuff like that I liked about this movie, because what really incorporated the movie, which I did not expect, was, like you said, representation of the time. Because at that time, if I heard the word Harlem, I literally just, at 9 years old, I had this image in my head, because what I was sort of believed was, okay, these are all black people who are living on welfare. That's how I pictured them, right? So then you see the
At
audience
9
like,
years old?
yes.
This sounds
That's-
like your parents.
That-
were
no.
Basically,
bad.
well,
Yeah,
that's
but that's
the
what
thing.
they promoted,
No,
you know,
that's
social-
not.
that's
That's,
media.
literally the media.
That's
Like
media,
the
they
news.
promote
Like
it.
when I hear Harlem, oh, it's all the drug addicts. It's all this, and you know they. But the thing is, they actually address that in this. They talk about the poor people here. They talk about the drug addiction there. They do talk about the Black Panthers representing everything. Again, that's what. And another of my favorite artists is Nina Simone, because you know she was one of those people pushing the agenda of the black, you know, that you're black and you're beautiful. And it shows in this, which is why I'm glad they really let her, you see who Nina Simone is. So that's what I really appreciate about this documentary. In fact, even one of the journalists talks about how she wasn't able to use the word black, right? She had, they changed it to Negro, and then she said she had to write some letter to the editor saying, like an 11-page, you know, an essay about why black is now being used.
Yeah,
because,
that's when Negro became black.
didn't-
right.
That's-
But see,
Didn't Nina Simone moved to France? Am I wrong?
oh no, she moved to Africa, and then after a while, since she had no money, she moved to France because
Okay.
she had a very difficult career because she felt she wasn't appreciated at all, or maybe because I did see that What Happened Nina Simone documentary.
Yeah, that was a good.
Right, because they mentioned, I think her daughter mentioned how she was so bipolar, she had mental problems basically
Yeah,
because she was so angry.
she
But that's, I said, if you watch this film, you'll see exactly what I think Nina Simone is all about. She talks about what was it? The play. What was it? Young, Black, and Beautiful, or something like that. That she wrote that song about that, based on that play, for the person who wrote "Raising the Sun." I mean, they're always constantly bringing up African culture. But what I also like, it's not just African culture. That Lin-Manuel Miranda's interview, because they, like you said, it's part of the Puerto Rican.
yeah.
And then they also incorporate like that sort of
Cuban.
That's Sheila.
well, I was gonna say I was gonna call the island jazz, because it was that part, like you said, that part kind of Latin yet African.
Hugh Mescala.
Hugh Mescala, the South,
Yeah.
you know, that part of it, and they talk about apartheid, and like I said, the Black Panthers I think was a big point point of that, and then
and Fred Hampton,
Yeah.
who was one of the Black Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
And what I thought was really the Black Panthers really got a not that it's to do with the movie, they got a bad rap.
Yeah.
They were very supportive of the Black community.
Yeah.
Started schools, medical.
But not just black community,
but-
just mixing with all the communities, all the poor communities, Puerto
Yeah.
Ricans, everything. They would get together with a whole group,
Right.
not just black
That's what I like.
community.
White America at the time
Poor.
wanted,
It was basically the poor.
wanted to.
I don't think it was that. I think it was the CIA and the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
well, yeah, basically in a way, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I
They
said,
wanted to
And we just got
protect it.
canceled. No.
and see, that's why I said that's why the what do they call it now? The narrative of that time.
yes.
See, it's like no, these people are just criminals, this and that. But culturally, I have to agree that they also bring that up about how '69 was really a changing point.
69.
Because what I liked is one of the artists, and I can't remember who it was. I don't know, but I did talk about like the Fifth Dimension and
Oh.
I forget, but wearing the ties and suits.
That's
that
very
even
Motown.
changed.
That's very Motown.
Well,
very
no, that
Motown.
was very everyone. I mean, you
No?
saw the Beatles used to wear the ties and the suits and everything. 64, 65. Then all of a
Well-
sudden, that hippie era sort of came by, and
Yeah.
then you
Then
saw
the hippie
people
era
not
came in.
wearing the ties and suits.
Right.
And that's what I said. That's what changed because it's like all the people who are on here. I used as a kid, I would see on Ed Sullivan. That's why I knew, like you said about the comics, like Mom's Mabley and
Red Fox.
who was the ventriloquist?
was that?
That because I used
You
to
mean
see
the
him up there.
what's his name? Father,
Oh,
the
yeah.
father of what's her name?
Oh, let me see if I
Murphy.
can.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
No, but I used to see him. But I know.
No, he was on all the time, and he was
Yeah,
in the
he, they showed a
'70s.
clip.
Yes.
He performed at it too with the.
Yeah, something in
that's right.
Ernie, I think. I can't remember, but these.
Isn't
That's
that
what
what's
there was.
his name, father?
There was
don't remember.
a nostalgia to it for me because, like, wow, these are all the people I watched as kids. Because a lot of them did cross over. In fact, that's why I think even the Fifth Dimension was funny because they mentioned how that really was the biggest song when they sang
Yeah.
Aquarius and Let the Sunshine In. That was
Yeah.
the biggest song of that year, and
Yeah.
that was huge. So they even relate a
Sure,
story
and we did a
about how
good
they
job.
got to see they invited some people to come see them, and then said, "Oh, why don't you come and see our
He
show?"
left his wallet.
Well, I like how he. I like how he.
that's right.
I like how he
Yeah.
describes that too.
Yeah.
Just how they ended up doing that too.
No, exactly, and ending up having to see Hair because the guy who, when they saw their show, it's like, "Oh, come and see our show,"
and
and
then,
he
like-
had to be one of the producers of Hair. Yeah,
And it's like
which
they're like,
he was saying how that was the sold out show. You know, it was so
and
hard.
then, like
to get
everybody
tickets,
wants to
you
see
know?
it because
I'm
people
really-
get naked.
I'm really interested in Lon's score on this one.
Oh yeah, but it was sort of fascinating because even they're talking about the news time, like you said about the man landing on the moon. Every single thing about that summer is sort of put into this thing. I mean, the only thing you probably
if you're
don't.
watching this, you should know this is your year that you were born.
Yeah, but you know what?
Shit was
Yes,
going on.
but
Well,
Speaking
the
of-
only thing they don't talk about is, for example, is the Vietnam War. I think they sort of make
They
mention,
did
but
mention,
not like a real big thing.
right.
on
It wasn't a big thing, but
Yeah.
they did mention how they were using a lot of
The black
and
people,
brown
right.
people
Right.
to go to fight the war. No, and die
They
for
were
the war.
using
That was,
poor
yeah.
people
Yeah,
to
poor
fight
people.
the war. That's who.
Yeah, then they always
That's
use,
who was-
and that's what they always
That's
use
who
for people.
always is.
And as
Yeah.
Canada, that was my first Americans that I met. Were the
Draft
draft
dodgers.
dodgers.
And that's what we gotta make
Because
sure.
we accepted them.
And that's why they gotta make sure people stay poor so they can.
And they seem like very nice people,
Make them
although they're
legitimate.
very, to us, they're very political.
But you know one thing I was telling Susie was like, the costumes, the music, everything. I was telling her, this what I noticed as a different generation. How to me, how the '60s and the '70s, I can lump them together. The hippies, the Vietnam War, the movement. They just, the civil rights and everything. To me, the '60s and '70s, to me, it's almost like the same.
Disco.
Yeah, disco, but still,
Right, yeah.
it's two decades that I can lump them in the same category.
Oh.
And to me, the '80s, it just the
Went
world
somewhere
changed.
else.
It's changed.
Well-
The latest streets took a left turn and went somewhere else completely.
See,
And
that's
it's not
why
risen back up yet.
that's why I sort of agree with you because that's the whole thing for me in this movie. Like I said, early '60s was a one kind of look and image. You had to wear the suit and the tie to be on like Ed Sullivan or something. Then the hippie,
The late
era kinda
60s, 69
so
and
late
everything.
'60s. That, like I said,
Yeah,
that
started
was,
going-
but early '70s it carried over with
carried
that sort of
over,
hippie.
yes, because
But
it
by
carries
the
over.
mid '70s, like I said, that's when disco and stuff. So that
Yeah.
started changing, right?
But it still has the same
Yeah,
look.
so-
When the '80s come along, it was Greed is
Right.
Good. I was telling Susie, I'm a kid, I'm an 80s kid. And it was like, to me, the 80s was like Greed is Good, the Wall Street movie, Donald Trump and Trump Plaza and everything. Cocaine. It was just synthesizers.
It was also different drugs.
It's,
The
yeah,
60s
it's different drugs. Yeah.
mescaline,
So the 80s,
LSD,
I say,
they're psychedelics.
the 80s movies, the cocaine, the synthesizers, in music, the 80s are just way different than the 60s and 70s. And to me, the 60s and 70s, I don't call it, it's like, say, a decade. To me, it's that the whatever you call 20 years together.
Exactly.
To me, 60s and 70s are almost together. No, actually, that's not really 65 to about to 80. 65 to 80.
I was gonna say 65 to maybe about 77.
Yeah,
That's how I would
that's
say it.
that.
Yeah.
You put it together.
Yeah.
And then he just took a left turn, and
Yeah.
now
Right.
we're in the DeLoreans, you know.
But I had to admit, that even stuff like even they talked about the afro, because I grew up with seeing black people in afro, so it was no. So now actually, when I see black people with straight hair, it's like, oh, what happened to the afro? Because they were saying how that
coming
was
back.
You
natural.
gotta see a documentary by Chris Rock called Good Hair.
Okay.
That might be one.
Oh
of them.
yeah, that's good.
And
yeah,
then
that was
and
good.
they even
So-
talked
No,
about.
Well, this movie we saw the movie.
They even talked
horror
about
film.
like wearing the African clothes, how they were
yeah.
really
It's
sort of
cheeky.
that. Yes, exactly. That
You
they're
know,
actually
it-
taking back their culture
you know what,
and
in
they're
the
really
late-
reflecting it.
late-
So it's like really fun.
But
Yeah.
late 80s, late 80s, early 90s, we had the New Jack sound, the New Jack look, the New York. It was all African. It was all very colorful.
Oh, really?
That was
Okay.
like,
Yeah, I know.
it's a different world, which has
Yeah.
the Jada Pinkett and all that to the show. But it was a New Jack sound, and it was
Coming
all
back.
African.
Yeah.
Reel it back
Yeah,
in.
let's
exactly.
go back
But
to
see,
the,
that's what I'm
But
saying.
Summer
But,
Soul.
but,
Yeah,
but I
but-
do agree that this was all part of that. That's what
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
was
Yes.
trying
No,
to
this is a
express.
true
And it did a good
history
job.
lesson. It's,
Yes.
See, and that's why you guys were
Yes.
talking about the music, and I think the music is
yes.
No,
great
it was all of it.
because it has
Yes.
it. But to me, no, it was about that era, that time period, and again showing you that African American culture, as I would say now, but they would say back then, the black culture. You are seeing every aspect of the black
Yeah.
culture of the
Sure,
frustration,
that's
the
when
anger,
Black is beautiful.
and what I love
Black and
too,
I'm
like I
proud.
said, thinking that here
more
they are,
fascinated
they're
to what
all
he's gonna
they're
get
all
at the score.
they're all welfare. I thought they're all welfare, and then I'm looking at the audience like, look, no, they're all nicely dressed people. It's not like you're seeing bums or anything. It's like, no, these were people who were middle class, probably, and like I said, that had such a stigma, that neighborhood, just hearing Harlem. And yet that used to be the big highlight back, right, in the 20s, 30s, and
Well,
40s,
we're
right?
Canadian,
Over there.
and my parents are English, and we actually never had that thing. But I'm sure in United States,
They did.
Like
it
it.
was.
Oh, I think, yeah, it had to. But like I said, this is a very special kind of, documentary. I would encourage it because not only do you hear great music, but you really get to see a time
Yeah.
and a place
Timepiece, yeah.
that
Yes.
I'm so glad that,
That was-
finally somebody was able to release
and,
it.
and it was transitioning time. It was a
Yes,
transition.
Yes,
very,
it was,
very much
it
so,
was.
yeah.
Okay,
Let's do the numbers.
yeah, let's do because Patty wants to hear you.
Oh, of course.
So, okay, hold on, it's gonna be you.
Me?
You give it lower
Let me
than
go
a
to me.
7. I'm gonna.
Well,
punch you right in the nose.
I love that. I would say, I can't believe Questlove for a first movie he's directing that he did this amazing job. It reminded me of the movie what's it called? Be Quiet, Don't Make a Noise, the monster one.
Interesting. Why?
No, what's that?
What's the number, George?
No, wait, what's the movie?
Oh, that Emily
Yes.
Blunt thing.
Emily
Yes.
Blunt movie.
Oh,
Don't make
Quiet
us-
Place.
Why?
Quiet.
Quiet Place. Because that actor from The Office, that was his first
Krasinski?
directing movie.
John Krasinski.
Dan Krasinski, and he did an amazing job as a director, and I was like, oh my god, yeah,
I'll pay you more if you give me the goddamn number.
happy, yeah.
What's the
Anyways,
number?
so I was,
Give me that glass.
so
Take that number,
for,
George. Between 1 and 10.
well, anyways, so Questlove did a amazing job. The way he put it together, I give it a 10. That's just that
Wow.
was
Wow.
amazing. I
Okay.
just love that much.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
I will also give it a 10.
yeah.
I just thought it was great because I don't actually usually like
Music, yeah.
things, but I thought it really was so much more than music. But okay, Gladys Knight,
Yes.
Mavis Staple, Mahala Jackson.
Edward Hawkins singers.
It's like
Yeah,
it's
but
like
putting it together with the political issues
okay, let's
too.
get
it's
the
just-
I don't even like before and of course the wonderful Stevie Wonder, who's just amazing. Yeah, and to see them as young people. I mean, basically,
Because we
Gladys,
were young then, too,
Gladys
so-
Knight was almost like doing hopscotch. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
she's
She
so
was
young,
like
it's like-
so young in this.
Wow.
No, what I meant is she had a little outfit on.
So young.
She looked like a little.
12.
She's probably in her teens.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
Mm.
Okay.
I gave this a 9. This
Holy
was
shit.
this was like I said a very special film.
Oh my God.
Champagne.
Champagne, everyone. I gave it a 10.
Yeah, 10.
I
Yeah,
don't think you
yeah.
did that.
There we go.
Okay, so do your thing.
Okay. Oh yeah. So this ends our 51. How do you say
51st.
that? 51st. Thank you. 51st.
Well, if you're from Spain, the 51st.
51st episode of What the Flicks. Okay. Now, George wrote this out because he changed all this. So, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is at
If you can follow us.
WT Flicks Pod.
Yes.
YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, and Spreaker.
Just
Or
look
what-
for What the Flicks.
Just What the Flicks Podcast. Email us at whattheflixpodcast@gmail.com. And to our actual French person, I hope you enjoyed that. We did a French
Yeah.
movie.
Exactly. Au revoir.
We have to do an
was mine, that was
Indonesian one.
mine.
Yeah, that's good. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.